I'm such a sex positive person that I have gifted my friends vibrators. But when it comes to supporting my own exploration, I can sometimes feel flooded with shame. And that's how I felt the other day, sitting in the doctor's office for an STI test. Even after years of deconstructing the purity culture that I was raised in, I still feel selfish and dirty for exploring my sexuality. Sometimes we've put in the work to change our mindset, but our feelings and our bodies haven't caught up with our brains quite yet. And that's okay. It's part of the process. So if you've ever felt this way, you're not alone, and this one's for you. So back to the doctor's office. I had given myself a pep talk before going in there because I had been dreading this appointment for days. I told myself, Ellie, we are not going to over-explain. We are going to be factual. We're going to be upfront. We're going to say what we want and need. And we're going to be strong and confident in our decisions because this is our choice, our body, and there's nothing wrong with it. But all of that kind of went out the window once the doctor started asking me questions. She asked me how many sexual partners I had. I said, well, I have been having some casual hookups. She said, okay, male or female? I said, both. She said, all right, what kind of activities? And she started to list some very specific, very graphic activities. And I confirmed which activities I had done recently. And she said, okay, yes, we can put in a regular order for testing for you. We just have to ask these questions. We want to make sure that we're ordering the correct tests. But as I was sitting there and we were doing the rest of my physical, I just felt this urge to explain, justify, get out ahead of whatever I was thinking she was thinking about me. And so I ended up saying, I just want you to know I've only had 4 of these casual encounters in the last couple of months. I don't know if you were imagining hundreds in your brain, but that's how many it's been. And her response was, I don't care what you do. I just want to make sure that you're safe. And maybe that would have been a helpful response for someone who didn't grow up like I did in Christian fundamentalism, where everything was purity culture and sexuality was extremely shamed from a very young age. But this shit runs so deep for me. And so I kept explaining. I said, I wasn't allowed to date growing up, and I got married at a really young age, and now I'm going through a divorce at 34, and I'm finally exploring my sexuality. Her response was not what I was hoping for, but she's not my therapist, she's a doctor. Her job is to ask the questions and to try to keep me safe if she can as her patient. And thankfully, she did not push any abstinence on me or say that what I was doing was not okay in any way. So I appreciate that. But my internal response, my anxiety, my shame, and my racing thoughts about what she thought of me and if she was judging me, quite frankly, if she thought I was a slut, was very forefront on my mind. And again, I'm a very, very sex positive person when it comes to other people. And I'm a big cheerleader and proponent for sexual liberation of all kinds. But here's the thing. I am finally in my hoe era. And I'm saying that in a cheeky way, but basically it just means that I don't feel ready for a relationship right now, and I'm not interested in dating in that way. But I do feel ready and very excited to explore my sexuality. And so I have been having some casual sex. And I've been learning a lot about myself. And it has been a really healing and great experience. I've been surprised and delighted by how much progress I've made in my secure attachment to myself. In the past, even just 9 months ago, someone would look in my direction and I would get attached. So there was no having sex with someone and never seeing them again. That was just completely out of the question for how anxiously attached I was at the time. But I have put in a lot of work to attach securely to myself, to hold myself down, to be there for myself, no matter what. And it's really paying off. I'm having a good time. And even when it's not a good time, because not all of the hookups have been great, if you know what I mean, they've taught me things about myself. And I don't regret them. And I'm really grateful to be on this journey. But I've noticed that there is a difference between preparing yourself for something and actually being in it. I have felt like if I can just get past this anxious attachment thing, then it would be great and all my problems would be solved. Wrong. I did not realize the amount of shame that I would feel doing something that for others, I'm the biggest cheerleader. Something that I have thought about for so long and that I have done so much mental work around normalizing and embracing. My therapist suggested a book to me called Pleasure Activism, but then I was having casual sex for the first time. And all of these purity culture beliefs from my childhood, things that had been drilled into me from such a young age, like when my mom would say, no kissing until you're married, all of that was surfacing. You can be supportive to others. You can even be supportive to yourself hypothetically. But until you're actually in the situation, you won't know how you're going to respond or how you're going to feel. Especially if it's a realm of your life that has trauma attached to it. And also societal messages that are damaging. Not everyone was raised in an environment where your dad was supposed to pick your husband and you were supposed to do courtship instead of dating. But we all do live in a society here in the United States that is extremely sex negative, with a lot of shame around sex and a lot of purity culture messages. So back to the doctor's office again. Got the testing done and I got out of there. And it's been a few days now and I'm feeling a lot better. And I was even able to talk to a friend about it. And she had some really good reassurance and advice for me. Do what I want to do. And as long as I'm being safe, just do it with my full chest, basically. I love that advice and I really want to lean into it. But I'm also going to need to give myself a lot of extra compassion. And when I look back on the pep talk that I gave myself going into the doctor's office, I think I was a little hard on myself. I think I was expecting myself to be at a place that I wasn't able to actually be. I was a little firm with myself, like, hey, I can tell you're feeling nervous about this and you're feeling shame, so we're not gonna do that, all right? You need to get it together, shove that shit down, and you need to be sex positive, dude. You go in there and don't back down, no matter what. And that's really not what I needed. That is not the kind of reparenting that my wounded inner child needed going into that doctor's office. I think what I needed was, hey buddy, it's okay that you're feeling nervous about this appointment. It's okay that you feel awkward and shameful talking about sex and asking for STI testing. That makes a lot of sense, the way that you grew up and the way that your life progressed. Getting married so young, not being able to explore yourself, not even knowing you were queer until you were 26, not having your first queer kiss until you were 32. You're really at the beginning of your self-exploration journey, and that's okay. In fact, it's beautiful. It's wonderful because you could have just stayed in a life that wasn't good for you. You could have just shoved all your desires down and pretended like they didn't exist, wrestled yourself into submission, just like you were taught to as a child. But instead, you're doing something brave. And I am really proud of you for being so brave. And listen, buddy, we can't control how the doctor will respond. And we can't control what she'll think about us. We won't even know what she thinks about us. But that's okay. I'm here. I'm here for you. I'm not going to leave you during that doctor's appointment. I'm going to be right there with you. And we're going to get through it together. It's okay that you're feeling this way. And it's okay that you want to feel differently. You're going to get there. And that's what I would say to anyone watching who is feeling frustrated. Maybe there's something that you've done a lot of work on in your brain, and your body and your feelings haven't caught up quite yet. That's okay. That's part of the process, and you're not doing anything wrong. You're on the right path, and I am proud of you. So don't give up, and I hope you can be proud of you too. Thank you, as always, for watching, internet friends. And if you've made it this far, please feel free to put an emoji of your favorite part of nature or a heart of your favorite color in the comments. And I'll see you in the next video.